I'd never thought about this before, but I think you made this point really well. Trust minimization then is could equally be described as minimizing the opportunity for moral hazard. Because the less we need to trust one another, the less opportunity the person entrusted has to deceive others effectively, right? And that's I'm thinking of Szabo's work here, where he describes that as one of the main purposes of money. It's a trust minimization tool. I guess we could do some other things in this bucket too. Capitalism, perhaps common law. Like these are protocols that don't really deviate based on political agenda. It's kind of like a common rule set we can all abide by. So it minimizes the need to trust one another. We can just all play by the rules, so to speak. But fiat completely annihilates that, right? Where now you are forced to absolutely trust your government and your central bank, which are the least trustworthy institutions in human history. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, how there's a lot of people in this, current COVID paradigm we're in that are very, just trust the government and they're going to set us straight and give us the vaccines we need and get us back on course and fix the economy, et cetera, et cetera. Is there one case in human history where trusting the government was ever a good strategy? I mean, I couldn't think of one.
And that's the role of propaganda, right? Like it is to get us to comply. And it's interesting because, like, at least in my reading of what propaganda is supposed to be, it isn't necessary to change your belief. It is more necessary to change your behavior. So I find myself like putting on a mask, right? Going into certain venues and stuff. And that's really the purpose of that propaganda. It is this idea, okay, you're going to get in trouble and you're going to make other people feel bad or make them very suspicious of you if you're not wearing a mask. I remember going to Whole Foods and literally my mask was just below my nose, right? And the cashier was like, what the heck is going on? Like, really? Like like half a centimeter that like and I was talking, so it would go down and up and down and up. And she was like, she's like, I'm gonna like call the cops on you or something. But that's the level that's what propaganda does, is it gets conformity from people. And it gets them to sort of like not question, because it is so heavily dependent on images, and it bypasses this reason circuit. Like if we reason through everything, it would take a lot more time, but like we would be a lot more convicted in our decisions. And this is one of the things that I think Bitcoin has certainly taught me is like, if you could reason through and figure out what's right, and like trust it, right? Like instead of, okay, well, I want this to be true, and like that's sort of like the whole trust your gut kind of thing that that propaganda tends to like capitalize on. But that is the role of propaganda, and why it is so evil and pernicious, in a democratic society. And the thing about democracy that I think Hoppe could have probably talked a lot more about is that there is a giant need for propaganda in a democracy. There's still some need in a monarchy and so on, but there is way more in a democracy because there is way more politics in a democracy. So everything is at stake all the time. So there, especially under a fiat monetary system, where there's this giant prize of being able to control the money printer, more or less. And if there is, then of course you're going to propagandize everything. You're going to politicize everything. You need propaganda in order to get support so that you can go into power and do whatever it is that you want. So we're in a hyper-politicized, hyper-propagandized society, which, like, I think I would say that if Hoppe's vision of a monarchy were in place, like that we would not be subject to, that we are subject to now, which is, I bet very bad for humanity in many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said. What jumped out at me here is if we, again, to your point, if we can trust reason itself, which is to trust our own ability to reason and trust that other humans have this capacity for reason, we land on these systems, trust minimization systems, right? Hard money, capitalism, common law, et cetera, which reduces the need to trust one another, which reduces moral hazard. So maybe this is the mechanism through which, reason leading to innovation without coercion actually improves our morality to some extent, just because we have sounder rules, right? I think you said to me once that the stability of rules is the bedrock of peace, something like that. It's like when the rules can't change or be manipulated, your only option is to play by the rules, which if we're in a pure anarcho-capitalism environment, that is to just serve the customer, right? You can't do anything else to enrich yourself.